Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now our topic today is how to make our bodies look slimmer. And Jerry, that's a very good comment. Jerry starts out and says, this is going to be a workout coffee break. The answer to that is a no, but I do want to show you how to photograph somebody first to make them look slender, all right? And then, of course, we could use Luminar AI to quickly make a person's body look smaller, even their abdomens look tighter. Now, a couple things. One, and I'll show you this in a moment in the picture, when you're photographing, especially a female, straight on like this, and their arms are right to their side, then you just got a blob. Bip. You just have no form whatsoever. The person is here. Look at the difference between this and my arms out just a little bit wide. By having it out wide, now it's taking shape. And then you take that even one step further and turn the person sideways. Now the person looks a lot thinner. So that's how we accomplish it, or one way, in camera. Now let me show you this right here. So here we are. Look at the difference. By photographing her straight on compared to photographing her to the side. Same thing here. All right, so look at this young lady. Look at her here, but then look at her here. So notice she looks very slender. She's already thin, but because the way that she was photographed here and here, she looks wider, all right? So let's say the art director loves this image, or you personally, you photographed her and she loves this shot and she wants you to work with it. Well, here's what we can do. We'll jump down here to the portrait tools and click on Body AI. I'm gonna go to an extreme just so you can see what it looks like. So now I just went to a complete, all the way to 100%. And notice what it's doing. It's shrinking the whole body in. Here it looks unrealistic. So let's dial it back just a bit. Right about there. All right. Before, after. Look how natural that looks. Now, yes, I'm doing this on a solid background, so it looks a lot easier. In a moment, I'll do it on a background that was shot outdoors, and you'll see how it'll take the surrounding pixels around here and blend them in so it doesn't look like it was stretched, all right? So that was a simple one here. Same thing here. Look at the difference between her, like I said, with her hand just down, completely flat like this. There's no shape whatsoever. Now that she's turned, now you can see her physique. All right, let's do this one right here. Here's another really good example. Here she is, shot straight on at an angle. So the angle definitely makes her look thinner. So let's say, once again, this is the one she fell in love with, and so did the art director. So come to edit, give it a second, and with body, we'll bring it in and shrink it down. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is what lens should we use? When we're photographing portraits, there's a wide range of lenses you can use. I personally like to start with an 85mm lens, and that's on a full frame camera. I like to start with an 85 because it has a tendency of shrinking or narrowing the depth of the image itself, compressing it, so the person looks thinner. Here she was a little too thin. Let's bring it back just a bit, and that looks natural. All right, let me pull it back up here. And by the way, let's see what this image was shot with. I will go to this one. All right, it was shot with a 55mm lens. Now, typically, a studio shot like this, like I said, 85 is a good starting point. 105 is good. Or if you like a person my size, for me, I'm really good if you wanted to photograph me at 200. At a 200 millimeter lens, I'm more compressed and I don't look as wide. If you photograph me with a wide angle lens, then I'm going to look huge. In a case like this here, a 55 millimeter lens is going to distort it and make her look a little bit bigger. So once again, let's come over here to the body shape. We'll bring that in. And once we get to the level that we like, we can even adjust the abdomen and bring that in. I'm going to bring out just a little bit. All right, the trick here is not to go overboard, all right? So I'm going to show you a couple other ones. In the comments, let me know. I mean, what are your thoughts on slimming a person's body? Some people call it body shaming, and you're not body shaming. I mean, what's the old saying? A camera adds 10 pounds. Well, no, if you shoot with a wide angle lens up close, yeah, it's going to add a lot of pounds. But you in our comments, let me know, what do you think about, what are your thoughts about slimming a person's body? Are you for it, against it? If the client wants it, then it's a no-brainer. You do it all day long. But do you do it if they don't know you did it? All right? So, now I showed you how to do that here. Well, what happens in this case here where, especially a teenager, we want him to look bigger? Well, instead of doing a positive value on the body, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come over here and do a negative value and watch what happens. So with a negative value, we're going to look at it, and it's going to make him look wider. Look at this. Before, after. Look how it just straight, how it brings it out, and it gives him like that wide angle shot. Like in a case like this, I have no problem photographing with a 35 millimeter or even a 50 millimeter lens. Typically, I'm pretty sure I shot this at the traditional 85. Yes, I did. So I shot that at 85. That's my normal go-to portrait lens. If I want him to look wider, then yes, a 35 or a 50 millimeter lens, or do what I just did inside Luminar. Now, let's take this shot here, a person out and about. All right, so here he is, out in an environment, edit, and we want to make him look a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go to a negative value, and look what it's doing. Let's take the abdomen, bring the abs in a little bit. Good, and I'm watching really close. So I brought the abs all the way to 100, and the body shape, let's bring it out a little bit wider. Ooh, there it is. Now watch. Before and after. And actually, let me do it this way. Before, after. Look how that just made him look a little fuller. And let's see what this was shot at. All right. This was shot also at a 55 millimeter lens. So you see how, like I said, we can adjust the person and make them look bigger or smaller based on the lens that we're using, or we could use Luminar to change that. So the question I asked, and I was hoping to get a few responses, pull up in here. Hello everyone, glad to see you here. I was hoping you were gonna reply, do you feel comfortable shaping a person's body or even their face? Do you feel comfortable shaping a person's body or face in a portrait if they don't know about it? So if they don't know about it, do you feel comfortable doing it? Number two, If the client wants you to do it, obviously, that's a no-brainer. You just do it. But what are your thoughts, your personal thoughts on shaping bodies inside the portrait? All right? Well, let me know that. Leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to answer them. Or should we save those comments, and the next time we come with Coffee Break, ask your questions then. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me. I'm Benelli, and I can't wait to see you. In fact, before I forget, coming up, and let me pull this up real quick. And one moment. I almost forgot to tell everyone, and you're going to love this. As soon as it pulls up, I'll share my screen. Now, I'm on Luminar Insiders and F11. Here we go. There we are. And let me share my screen. There we are. So coming up on June 24th is Deep Dive. Did you look at the time? 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. 15 hours, right? Roughly 15 hours of a long, here it is, long, extremely productive, extremely informative event. And it's not just us that'll be the ones demonstrating, but we have an entire group of people coming in from professionals from all over the world that'll join us, and they're going to show you their favorite Luminar techniques, and we'll talk about photography and things that are happening at Skylum. So Deep Dive 2 is coming up Thursday, June 24th. That's this week, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I hope to see all of you guys there. All right? Well, once again, I'm so glad you guys could join us, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.